Hello everyone, today we are going to be taking a look at the first full simulated season of the league that I've created using players from my NCAA 14 Dynasty. But we simulated the full season. Originally I wanted to play it all, but I just wanted to see, kind of where some of our players end up. So Drew Brees won the MVP, going 15-1, and we have Chris Johnson winning Offensive Player of the Year, Lawrence Timmons winning Defensive Player of the Year. But here are some of the rookies from the first season of the Drakes series. So Lance Anderson, the quarterback from Georgia, wins Rookie of the Year for the AFC, and I highlighted some of the other players. And then Paul Mays, the Steelers' first-round pick in last year's draft, from Louisiana Lafayette, also won the Defensive Rookie of the Year for the AFC. And Joe Flacco, Steve Ridley, AJ Green, Nate Solder, Mark Anderson, and actually Paul Mays won Best Defensive Back in his rookie season, but then Dan Carpenter won Best Kicker. And then we took a look at the NFC side. Of course, Drew Brees won Offensive Player of the Year. Bobby Wagner won Defensive Player of the Year. This time we have James Jameson on the Vikings. They had the top two players, but ultimately Jameson won Offensive Rookie of the Year for NFC. Gregory Jackson, who was on our team, the Oilers, but we're not really playing this series. And then there's a weird glitch in this game where, I don't know, some rookies in the roster carry over. So I'm counting Chris Wilson for the Vikings as the true Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think it'll fix itself next year, but now we have some of the other NFC players on their respective positions. No other rookie won in terms of this, but I think this will be interesting to look going forward. Here we have the Pro Bowl, so we can look at some of the other top players from this Season 1 simulation. Just going to scroll through. I don't think we have a ton of imported players so far, but I think we do have a few. So now we can take a look at the NFC, and this is where we have the rookie. We have Will Patton, the rookie running back for the 49ers, made it. And now scrolling through some of the other players, we also have the center for the Saints, Nathan Oliver, who ended up starting, and then the right tackle, Scott Slaughter, who was also drafted by the Saints, helped propel them to a 15-1 record. And there we go. Now we have some early retirements: Julius Peppers, Peyton Manning, and Fred Jackson. But there are going to be more retirements as we go on. So let's recap the playoffs. So the Chiefs beat the Ravens, the Packers beat the Eagles, the Browns beat the Jaguars, and then 49ers beat the Giants. Then going on to the divisional round, the Patriots beat the Browns. The 49ers upset the Saints, who were the top seed going in, and then the Chiefs beat the Steelers. And then in a really high-scoring game, the Packers beat the Seahawks in the conference round. Patriots over Chiefs, 49ers over Green Bay, and then a low-scoring Super Bowl is the 49ers beating the Patriots. And we can look at some of the stats here. But looking at what happened in this game, Colin Kaepernick, only a 64 quarterback rating, but it was enough to get it done. Here you can see the Pro Bowl Will Patton only getting 2 carries for 6 yards in this game as a rookie. Looks like no rushing touchdowns in this game, but 1 receiving touchdown for Vernon Davis, as Dobson led in yards, and then rookie tight end Nick Luke also had 40 yards in this game. But yeah, Vernon Davis had the only touchdown. And trying to find maybe some defensive plays that only 4 TFLs total, only 3 sacks in this game, so not really sure what was going on in this game. And there was 3 picks, but not really an exciting game. No fumbles, no defensive touchdowns. So let's move on. And now we have more retirements. So Frank Gore and Anquan Boldin go out on top, winning the Super Bowl. And then a bunch other players are retiring, and this is really important because we have a bunch of players who were drafted in the Season 1 draft from our Dynasty series that haven't been able to really take the field yet. Some players come in at really low overalls compared to the base roster in this game, so having these players retire hopefully will open up some more slots for them. But in a second, we're going to get to the Season 2 draft, so also a bunch of opportunities for those players to be drafted and potentially start filling up some of the bunch of these roles. So now it's time for the Season 2 draft. We don't have any players from our Drake's team in this year's draft, but and probably not next year either, but maybe in the future we will have one of our players taken in this franchise here. But let's go ahead and get done with pick number 1, and it is, surprise, a tight end, Adam Livingston. He is the top tight end taken this year from Middle Tennessee State with 10 touchdowns, and for some reason this game loves tight ends, taking them early. I don't really know how to prevent it, but I guess he's just a really good tight end prospect, going number 1 overall. But Robert Bray's taken at number 2, the Oklahoma outside linebacker, 12 sacks in his career, over 100 tackles, 172 assisted tackles for 7 total turnovers. Now moving on to pick number 3, we have the center from Texas A&M, Kevin Jenkins, going to the Rams. He has 74 pancakes in his career. He has given up 8 sacks, but only 1 in his final season. And now we have another tight end going at the 4th pick to the Titans, Neil Waters, who had 600 yards and 7 touchdowns in his last year for Ohio State. On to pick number 5, the Raiders select Greg Britt, one of the highest overall players from the Dynasty, coming out of LSU. Didn't really have that great of a statistical season. Maybe he got hurt, so maybe seeing a lot of upside. The Raiders do. Jimmy Covington, the strong safety, goes to the Chargers. He's from the University of Texas. Also not crazy in terms of stats, but still 4 turnovers in his senior year forced. Now we have another strong safety going to the Dolphins, Jason Britt from FAU. And a lot of these safeties just don't have a lot of stats to really talk about, but let's move on to the Cowboys pick at number 8. They take the first quarterback off the board, Jason Hudson, and he only had 1 year as a starter. In his senior year, he put up 31 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 2,500 yards. We'll have to track his career as Tony Romo just retired, so he'll probably be taking over for him. Corey Marshall goes number 9. We already have 3 tight ends off the board. This time, the tight end from Washington, who's had 3 straight years of 8+ touchdowns, 700+ yards in all 3 years. So pretty good player there. Perry Sullivan goes to the Colts. This guy has the lowest stats of them all, but I don't know. He's also a junior coming out early, so maybe they see some early potential with him. The Bills with the 11th pick take Rico Mills, a defensive end. He had 10 TFLs and 3 sacks in his senior year. Now moving on to the Panthers with pick number 12, and they are going to pick Justin Redd, the first running back off the board. He won the Walker Award for UCLA. 23 touchdowns, 1,600 yards rushing, probably some also receiving yards I didn't really cover, but cool pick there. Mike Burrell, another tight end off the board, this time the Florida tight end. Only 1 real year as a starter, it looks like. So a lot of tight ends flying off the board. Maybe these teams will be trying to convert them to a wide receiver or something, but the Lions are going to select Kevin Warren, the linebacker from South Carolina. 3.5 sacks, forced fumble, looks like an off-ball linebacker. Now for the Vikings, they have 2 picks in 3 selections, but they go the second quarterback, Chad Lee from Alabama. 2 years as a starter, definitely improved in his senior year. Now we have the Bears pick. They're going to go Art Webb, another Washington player off the board. Only 7 TFLs and 2 sacks with one forced fumble. The Vikings, with their next pick in the past 3 selection, they're going to trade that one away, so they got the guy they wanted. They trade away to the Colts. They're going to take Maurice Magnum, an outside linebacker, another coverage linebacker with 8 deflections and 2 picks. And now the Jets, they're going to take tight end Luke Davis, another tight end. This guy only has 1 touchdown his senior year. Maybe he got hurt as well, but I guess the Jets see something within him. But now it's time for our Oilers pick, and we're controlling this team kind of, but not really playing any of the games or really focusing a lot on this roster. We're going to draft an edge rusher in Jeff Moore, one of the biggest weaknesses on our team. And he is from Virginia Tech. 5.5 sacks for him with a forced fumble and 14 TFLs, but 100 tackles in his career, so looks like he was a 4-year starter for Virginia Tech. Now we have the Bengals pick. They're going to take the 3rd quarterback off the board, Terrence Marks, who just racked up the awards, winning the Heisman, 46 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, 4,000 yards for Marks there. So definitely the most decorated quarterback. The Jaguars go Marcus Reyes, the linebacker from Notre Dame. And now we have the Eagles pick, another quarterback, Jamal Buchanan, the Kansas quarterback. Looks like he got hurt midway through his season, maybe got hurt last year too. So I guess in this limited time, the Eagles see him as the future. So now for the Ravens pick, they're going to take Hunter Wynn, the outside linebacker from Texas A&M. The Giants, they're going to select Andrew Atkinson, a quarterback. They selected one last year with John Hartman from Georgia Southern, but I tried to prevent them from taking another quarterback. They did, because Hartman didn't really have that high of an overall. And they take a guy who really didn't play a lot. He didn't have a lot of usage at Virginia. But moving on, we have a lot of more picks to cover. So Alonzo Parks is going to go to the Browns. He had 19 touchdowns in his senior year, 4,300 total. And now for the Bucs pick, they are going to take Antonio Swain, linebacker from Oklahoma. 7.5 sacks in his career, 3 forced fumbles as a senior. And now the Bengals are on the clock again. They're going to go Kirk Tillman, the first tackle off the board. And he has 85 pancakes in his career, but 21 sacks given up from Georgia Southern. And only 287 pounds. But now the Saints, after being one of the top teams in the regular season, they're going to go with Brandon Whitmore, the running back from Oklahoma. 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns in his senior year. And now we have the Chiefs going with a quarterback, Larry Merritt from Tennessee. Only 1 real year as a starter, but pretty solid. 28 touchdowns, 2,800 yards, only 10 picks. So it looks like a pretty solid player there. The Packers at pick number 30 are going to go Lance Rose, the safety from Georgia. 3 picks, 9 deflections, so maybe they're hoping it will be a playmaker for them. The Patriots at pick number 31 are going to trade away to the Seahawks and take Joel Black, the linebacker from Tennessee. And he has 16 TFLs and 3 forced turnovers. The Super Bowl champion 49ers, they're going to trade away their pick also to the Vikings, who have their 3rd pick in this first round. They're going to go right end from Michigan, Michael Warren, with 5.5 sacks for him. Now we can cover the second round, just kind of going through it a little more quick, so not going to cover all the schools and all that for the second round players, but just seeing what happens here. I think last year we had a special teams player go in the top second. Now we have it again. We have another kicker there for the Bills, so the draft logic in this game is not that great. Now it's our turn to pick. And with our second pick, we notice a lot of quarterbacks have gone off the board. I was hoping maybe we could wait until the 3rd round, but the guy we want to take is sitting here right now. He's one of the only guys left with 8 throw power, Dustin Davis. And he is, I believe, from FAU, but just kind of taking a little second to draft him. Kind of knew I wanted him before the draft started. So yeah, the quarterback from FAU, looks like he had 3 years as a starter, so should be a solid backup to RG3 on our team. And now you can see on the middle ticker, we are just scrolling through all the other picks, so you can see maybe what your team took or whatever happened. And you can see the wide receivers are really not that highly valued in this. For some reason, they drop so far in the draft, in pretty much every draft in this game. But I think as time goes on, they'll have higher value for certain teams. So now we can just cover some of the third round. And some of these players we did play against in our Drake's dynasty. So maybe you might recognize some of these names, but I imagine most of them are not really that recognizable. Now we have our third pick, and I didn't really know what to do here, so I just kind of simulated it, let the computer take it. There wasn't a good trade down opportunity, so yeah, I just let the computer do it. They ended up taking Greg Lewis, the free safety from Wisconsin. He only had 8 tackles somehow. He's barely cracked above 10 tackles in his last 3 years. I don't know how that's possible. But yeah, I'm not really sure. We'll just have to see what his overall is at the end and see if the computer did a good job. Now we are on to the 4th round. And I'm not going to cover pretty much any more of these selections just because these 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round players, they might do an impact, but we're just going to cover what we take. We're going to take Anthony Mills, one of the best centers remaining from Cal, 43 pancakes in his career, only gave up 2 sacks this season, senior year. And then with our next pick, we are going to take another undrafted, or it says undrafted caliber, but I think this was another good pick for us. Trent Simmons, an All-American left guard, 37 pancakes, only 1 sack given up in his career. So I think a good developmental player there for us. Now we're in the middle of the 6th round, and I think here I don't really see anything, and we actually need a kicker and a punter. So I decide just why not trade down, get the extra pick, and then now we have 2 7th round picks to take both a kicker and a punter. So ended up working out for us. So let's just simulate to that. So with our 19th pick, our 19th pick in the 7th round, we're just going to take what the game says is the highest overall. Don't really want to spend scouting points on kickers and punters, but so yeah, the game says that Willie Hawkins is the top kicker and punter, so we're just going to take him, trust the computer on that one. And he is the punter from Oklahoma, so we can see some of his stats here. So I will pull up the stats for the punters. And then we actually got the last pick, the Mr. Irrelevant, from that trade we did before. And with that one, we're going to take Sean Moore, the kicker. So now we replaced both those positions. He made 88% of his field goals, long of 51, 18 touchbacks. So looks like an okay kicker for us, should be, from Florida. Now finally we're going to look at see how we did. Scrolling over here, Jeff Moore's 76 overall. That's really good for us. Dustin Davis, that's an okay at 70 overall. And then a bunch of, just 60s to kind of fill out the rest of the roster, and 73 and 71 for our special teams players. But that's a pretty good draft for us. So Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of supplemental episode of the Drake's Dynasty, seeing where all these players end up. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.